What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat, Sports Network's very own fantasy football huddle, presented by Danklyfe clothing brand and yours truly, Dallas Clark. Today, we're discussing why running back is king, why it seems to be the most important position in fantasy football, how come how you draft running back seems to determine your entire draft strategy for the rest of your draft. Today, we're going to be discussing a few of the different draft strategies, as well as me letting you know which one is my favorite and how to employ it properly. Now, before we get started, of course, I want to make sure to ask you to do me a favor and smash that like button. It helps so much more than you can even understand. And do yourself a favor by hitting that subscriptions bar, as well as that notifications bell, so you always know when new content is coming out. Also, make sure to check us out over on Spotify. We now have new audio-only versions that are nice and convenient for you if you do not have the time to watch the video over here on the mothership. Now, without further ado, let's fill up our cup, roll something up, and get right into the first running back draft strategy. Now, before we talk about that first draft strategy, I want to make sure to make it a point to say all your draft strategies should be written down in pencil. You're going to want to be able to stay adaptable and flexible in your league. You're going to want to be able to capitalize on mistakes that you know those idiots are going to make. So don't lock anything in pen or in stone. Make sure that you have the ability to stay flexible. Now, when we're talking about these strategies, I want to first point to some of the numbers that I've been able to put together going back the last few years in fantasy football and kind of seeing what points per game total you're expecting out of a running back you draft in round one, all the way through the draft, as well as wide receivers. So we can use that for comparison's sake on why these draft strategies work in different ways and why they have started being successful for more people in the past. The first running back strategy I want to talk about is the robust running back draft strategy. I like to call it the OG strategy. This draft strategy is really from back in the day before we got the influx of really good running backs that we did and high level production in those first couple of rounds. What you're really going to be doing is you're going to be spending a lot of your early draft capital in that first 3 rounds all on running back. You're essentially wanting to fill out your entire running back 1, running back 2, and flex position before you fill out the other roster spots. When you do fill out the other roster spots, you're going to be filling them out with high value and high upside players that you can definitely capitalize as your season goes on. The robust running back strategy can work, but it is not the smartest way to go about it. You're getting yourself in position for a lot of moving and shaking. I reserve the robust running back strategy for people who are extremely confident that they are fantasy football geniuses, because it takes so much stress and so much work, and with the inherent risk of the injuries that you get at the running back position, one injury can totally shake up your entire roster, which is why I don't prefer anymore to go with the robust running back strategy. If you look back on our previous videos from previous years, robust running back used to be one thing that I preached to everybody, as well as waiting on quarterback. And hey, people can change, and I am a perfect example of that. Another good example of a running back draft strategy is going to be the zero RB strategy, which is built on the premise of one idea. The idea that the value of drafting a round 1 running back, the benefit from it has declined. You're looking at the 12.2 points per game that a 4th round running back gets on average versus the 17 points per game that a 1st round running back gets on average. Some people are finding more value in that 4th round running back in a points per position aspect due to the fact that you're passing up on so much wide receiver value in that first round. You're looking at round 1 wide receivers in 2023 putting up 19 points per game on average, being drafted in that first round. So you're looking at, because of the value you're missing out on the wide receiver room, that 12.2 points per game running back in the 4th round. If you're taking the higher valued wide receiver early in the first round, then that's going to be more beneficial to you, more valuable to you. You're getting over 12 points per game from wide receivers in rounds 1 through 7, and you're getting a steady decline in the production from wide receivers after round round 7. You do get an increase after round 4, and that's when you really start to get a real steady decline. After you get that slight bump up after round 4 is when you get that decline in your wide receiver points per game production, and that's where these zero RB strategy players are targeting their running backs. You're filling up on running backs and even taking best quarterback or tight end available in some of those other rounds. Come around round 5, 6, 7 is really when you start to capitalize on some of those high upside but not high value running backs that you can find in that running back room. You're also looking at in that 4th round area where you get that increase in wide receiver production. Currently this year, you're seeing Zay Flowers, George Pickens, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, all being drafted in that area. So you're looking at the ability to hit that elite quarterback or wide receiver in round 3, like I talked about, and still grabbing more wide receivers in that 4th round before moving on to your first running back selections in rounds 6, 7, and 8. And you're going to pound the running backs between round 6 and round 10. You're going to want to fill out that running back 1, running back 2, and at least 1 bench position when you're talking about that zero RB strategy. And the zero RB strategy is the one I was talking about that has become not only more popular, but widely successful over these past few years due to the numbers you're seeing on the tables here today. Now, my favorite strategy, and before we get into my favorite strategy, I want to ask you a favor one more time. Make sure you drop down, hit that like button, as well as that subscriptions bar, and drop into the comments and let me know what is your favorite running back strategy that you're going with this year based on all the research that you've heard. Let me know how you're valuing running backs. I don't want to hear about wide receivers like everybody else has been talking about so far coming up into the beginning of this year. Give me something different to talk about here in that comment section. So drop below your favorite running back strategy and how you're planning to employ it in 2024. And I'll tell you that my favorite running back strategy is the hero RB strategy. Some people are calling it the anchor RB strategy. And realistically, what you're doing in that strategy is you're drafting 1 stud running back, hopefully in the 1st round. But if you do get a later pick in the 1st round, I'm okay with taking an elite wide receiver in the 1st round and then grabbing that stud running back in the 2nd. But that stud running back is going to have elite workload. You're going to want that volume like you see from Christian McCaffrey, like you're going to see from Breece Hall, like you're going to see from Bijan Robinson this year. However, when you are employing this hero RB strategy, it's very important that you need a wide receiver inside of that first 2 rounds. So with the hero or anchor RB strategy, you're taking wide receiver and running back or running back and wide receiver. You're getting an elite wide receiver and an elite running back in that 1st and 2nd round. And if you have to wait until the 2nd round to get that running back, you're looking at somebody like Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Taylor, who is not outside the range of options to become a number 1 running back this season. After you take that first running back and that first wide receiver, you're going to be waiting until round 6 or round 7 for your 2nd running back. In that area, you're looking at Aaron Jones, who's got a good situation, who's had low usage his entire career. So there's not a ton of, there's still a lot of tread left on that tire. And you have a good offensive line in the Minnesota Vikings backfield right now as well. You have James Conner in that area, who averages 5 yards per carry last year. Great yards after contact as well, and has an improved offense as a whole. Then you're looking at Ramondre Stevenson as well, who has that 1,100 yard plus upside, low competition with the improved offense and improved offensive line. So you're going to be grabbing some running backs in that area in the 6th or 7th round, and then maybe even again in the 8th or 9th round, because you still want running back depth. You're going to be looking at Raheem Mostert, who's looking at over 200 touches per year, who's looking at 1,100 yard upside, or Chase Brown, who is the receiving back for the Cincinnati Bengals. And can Zach Moss stay consistent after week 5? We have not seen that yet. That question is yet to be answered. Now you're looking at Devin Singletary in that area as well for the New York Giants. Tons of upside opportunity in that round 6, 7, 8, and 9 for you to grab and get some running back depth. And I prefer to add a late running back, Ezekiel Elliott. I know you may think he's washed, but he's going to get a ton of receiving work in this offense this year. And they love Ezekiel Elliott in the Dallas Cowboys backfield, or somebody like Bucky Irving from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that is going to do it for me today for all 3 running back strategies. Like I said, we discussed the robust running back strategy, the zero running back strategy, and my favorite, the hero running back strategy. Now, if you have any other questions, make sure you drop them down below in the comments so that way I can answer them and maybe even live on the next episode. But if that's going to be it for today, guys, make sure you keep your chins up and your attitude down, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.